Hello everyone and welcome. I'm Bisma Wali. Today we are delighted to have Jennifer with us, a licensed massage therapist, entrepreneur and educator. So Jennifer, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me on your show. I appreciate the invitation very much.
We are excited to hear about your journey and the valuable work you do. So can you please introduce yourself to our audience?
Absolutely. As you said, my name is Jennifer Stoudt. I am a licensed massage therapist. I am a birth doula, which is got three major parts to it, which is educational support, physical support, and emotional support during the pregnancy and labor and postpartum period. I am also an author of the Song of My Heart book. The Song of My Heart book. The Song of My Heartbeat is my first children's book. And then I was also a contributing author to a book called Legacy in Ink, which I'm a contributing Guinness World Record holder for that book with among 141 other authors. So there's 142 of us total. Um, I am a wife. I am a stepmom to one. I am a mom to five, four boys and one girl. And then my stepdaughter as well. My husband and I are both business owners. I have three siblings, two brothers and a sister, and I come from first generation Christians that had no idea what it looked like to live faithfully and how to teach wisdom to their kids so that they didn't have to go through the same problems that they went through, which were numerous.
Nice. Tell us about your journey and how did you become a massage therapist?
Absolutely. I became a massage therapist when I was in 2010. My high school years, my mom had been dealing with a lot of health issues and a lot of physical pain from her years and years and years of being a school bus driver. It was just compounding, and her body was just in so much physical discomfort. It was hard to watch her in so much pain. Well, she would ask me to rub her feet to try to help pop her toes because she was in so much pain. She just felt the pressure building specifically in her toe joints. So I would rub her feet and then I could get her toes to pop. Come to find out, I'm like 15 years old when this is happening. And I found out through my mom and things that her chiropractor could never get her toes to pop, not ever. And she encouraged me that I had a natural talent for massage, especially for intuitively feeling the place that the pain wants to hide and just kind of telling it didn't need to be there anymore and allowing it the opportunity to release and let go. So I had a natural inclination towards that she really, really encouraged in me and said, you could make this a career, you could really do this. And then I met my husband, and when we were kind of dating, didn't really know exactly what was happening because we accidentally fell in love. It wasn't on purpose. We were just friends, and we got to know each other very well, and it just, hey, we're well matched for one another. Maybe this is something we want to ask some deeper questions and see if this really is the right thing. So then I was going to be a stepmom, and I didn't know what was going to happen with some custody issues between him and his ex-wife. And so I decided, well, I don't want to be a stepmom and work 40 hours a week. I want to be able to be there primarily for her. And so I started massage school 3 weeks later. So that was kind of my journey to get there. And it's been quite a ride ever since.
That's nice. Was there a specific moment in your life that inspired this career?
I think a series of just small events where I could really see the benefit that what I was doing was having on my mom's quality of life and her functional abilities to just walk comfortably. And that really impacted me. And then I had a close family friend who was going to go to a a massage school's like event night where they were doing like a mini class where you could decide if it's something you wanted to pursue doing. And she didn't want to go alone and asked me to go with her. I went to this thing with her, and the friend that I went with was so relaxed. She was going through some things personally, and she started to cry and had an emotional reaction to the physical relief of healthy touch and human connection that she was craving at that particular time. So my first experience with massage in a more formal way was seeing the power it could have on the ability for a person to release things that they didn't know that they were carrying, or they knew that they were carrying but didn't know how to let it go, or needed help to be able to let it go. So I had some really profound experiences about the mind body, that somatic connection, but at a very, very early stage of my even pre-career. So those are two really informative experiences, my mom and then that close family friend.
Okay. So, what exactly does a massage therapist do?
Well, massage therapy is a very, very big umbrella. That can be anything from relaxation massage and more of like the Swedish massage techniques. It can be super light pressure, or it can be really, really deep pressure. It can be not therapeutic, meant like not intended to be therapeutic, more meant to be, wraps and scrubs and just like a spa type situation. Or it can be completely medical, only referring from doctors, getting most of your clients doing insurance billing. So it's a really, really wide net of how people use massage, but basically it's using my hands as a tool to help create change in someone else's physical body, in their tissue, in their soft tissue, in their fascia, which is specifically what I do. I'm a fascial therapist. So I don't care about your muscles in a traditional sense like a massage therapist might. I really only work with the fascial system as my primary focus, knowing that when I can get the relief in the deep layers of the fascial system, then I'm affecting the nervous system, the circulatory system, the lymphatic system, all of these other important systems that often get bogged down with what I refer to as traffic jams. You might have an 8-lane freeway, but if it's got a traffic jam and you're only limping one lane on the shoulder, it's working really, really hard. And unless you have a crew that can come in and move the traffic off to the accident off to the side and clear the accident, the flow of traffic can't return to normal. But that's one of the ways I describe it to people, is if I feel like, ooh, that release that I just felt like the traffic jam, like the police just allowed all the cars to start going on all the lanes again. So I've always done more medical massage, but I've had wonderful friends who have done more spa work. It's a wonderful profession, because any kind of niche that you want to have, there's an avenue for you to be able to do that.
That's nice. Many people think massage is just for relaxation. How would you explain its real health benefits?
Yeah, well, saying that massage is only relaxation is just not fact. There have been numerous studies that have extensively documented the depth and layers of the benefits of massage, having that human touch, that human connection, that's a healthy touch that helps create what science would refer to as an external input to your system. Our bodies are incredibly smart, but they need a little help. And so we can be stuck in a fight or flight response for years in our bodies and not know it. But the second that someone who comes in and is knowledgeable enough and able to just kind of hold space for what's going on with your body and say, hey, what do you need? it's amazing what the body is capable of doing. I I'm I was very, very lucky that I went to a medical massage heavy school. So I got about 60% medical massage in my training and about 40% other, whether that be uh, business classes, learning how to read research papers and studies and case studies and things like that, so that I could understand the science a little bit better about what was happening. And have a more evidence-based practice in that way. So if someone thinks that it's just relaxation, that means that they've never met someone like me and they've never experienced the benefit that intentional, facilitated change can make in someone's body, not just in their physical body, but their mental body, as well as their spirit. Like we are a three-pronged person, our body, mind, and spirit. We are interwoven. That's why that's the name of my company, is Interwoven Therapeutic. We are all three. And oftentimes we just want to address one without addressing the other two. And I think that does a disservice. So I hope that massage is one of those places where we learn how to better see the whole person, so that we can help facilitate more meaningful change with every client that we see, regardless of the modality that we use, whether it's relaxation or the type of work that I do in the medical field.
Yes. What are the most common problems your clients come to you with?
Yeah, I would say most clients come with one or two primary areas of complaint, sometimes as many as 5 or 6, and they don't understand that they're actually all connected through the way that physics works. We are a very fancy pulley system, basically. And when there's a restriction in one pole of the system, the other pulley system pieces have to work harder to maintain the same structural integrity of the overall system. And our body is the same way. So if we misuse our body or don't care for our body well, we're going to have areas where the fascia will have a calcification, not calcification, a crystallization, where the fibers become, instead of malleable and pliable, they become hard and brittle and stuck, almost like layers of saran wrap. If you've ever used saran wrap and you get 2 layers together and they stick together, they're really hard to pull apart. But if you had a layer of liquid in between them, it would be no problem. It's very similar to the way that our fascia works. So I hope that answers your question.
Okay, nice. Can you share a memorable success story?
A success story. Well, I've had a lot of successes, but I look for opportunities to find those, so I don't miss any. I think it's important to be able to look for the good. It's too easy to look for the bad. So I think one of my favorite personal and professional crossover stories is that the first birth that I got to attend as a birth doula was for my oldest brother and his wife. So it was really, really cool when I got to show up to the hospital. Oh, one of my kids is trying to walk in. No, please. Eli, I'm in a call, honey. Please, no, you got to get out. You got to give me a minute. When I got to the hospital and she was in labor and I showed up, the nurse turned and looked at me and she asked if I was the doula. And it was so encouraging that my first birth, really the first thing that was said to me was, "Oh, are you the doula?" That my presence carried in such a way that the nurse assumed that was my only role in the room, not just aunt. And so that was a really wonderful professional / personal moment where I got to be a part of the legacy of my brother's family line and have that be a lovely story that we both get to carry. And it's the same brother that I got to go to Philadelphia and do the Guinness World Record event with for the book Legacy in Ink.
Wow. Uh, how does you build your business?
Piece by piece. I had a lot of great business training in school. I honestly didn't take a lot of it as seriously as I could have or should have, because I didn't think I wanted to own a business. I felt pretty sure like, oh, I don't want that. I want to be an employee. I just want to go, show up, do my job and leave. I don't want the responsibility of that. I felt pretty sure of that. And my husband always told me that I would have a brick and mortar. He always believed that I would have a brick and mortar business, that I would have a storefront. Okay, sure, whatever, I didn't believe him, but here we are. I have that now. So, sorry, my distraction. So when I worked at my first job, it was really my dream job. And I loved that job so much. It was family. It was a real sense of community and camaraderie. There was no, well, that's my client, you can't have them. It's like, hey, I want my client to see you. I think what you have, your technique would really be helpful in this thing. I'm going to make sure that my notes are really detailed over the next several visits so that you have really good information to go from. That's uncommon in the massage world. It can be, not always, but there are a lot of offices where there's just unhelpful personality clashes that are allowed to fester into full-blown problems. That's how I'll say that. So I didn't experience any of that. And then I felt at some point, I was there about 6-7 years, and I felt like I'm doing roughly the same massage on all of my clients because they're all coming from the same desk job situation. And so that's what they need. And that's what's good for their bodies. But I'm doing the same thing basically. And I felt stagnant. And then I became a doula. I decided to do my online certification to be able to become a birth doula who's a massage therapist under, first. So massage therapist who then became a doula was specifically my training. And it was extremely helpful to have a massage background and then take a class that was for specifically massage therapists wanting to become birth doulas. I think it gave me a lot of wonderful insight on how to do it. So I just opened my own business, and it was scary. I didn't know what I was doing really. And I just saw clients out of my home at first. And when I lived in another state, when we moved here, I knew I didn't want to see clients in our home and that I was going to have to need to get an actual location. And so that was quite a stretch for me. And in the last 5 years, I've had a lot of growth in what I know I'm capable of and what I believe I can do just through one step at a time. I am in this interesting place right now where there's several things that I need, and I know what I need. And I had a coach that I was talking to this last week, just point blank tell me, well, this is the cycle that you're stuck in. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, now that you say that, sure, that's obvious, but I couldn't see that on my own. So that's why you have these people who can help you see what you can't see. And I've definitely been in that particular season right now. There's several classes that I'm taking, a couple of books that I'm taking or that I'm reading as like a book study. And they're all about understanding the roots a little bit deeper. And so there's a lot of refining that I think God is putting me through in a very good and helpful way to prune off some of the things that maybe aren't helpful, or maybe they are helpful, but I could be more productive in certain ways. So it's been an interesting journey becoming a business owner. And I've also learned that It doesn't have to be the right step, just make it a step. That was this week for me. So I hope that blesses somebody else, because I needed to hear it. And it wasn't a particularly comfortable thing to hear.
Wow, that's a very wonderful journey. Uh, how important is physical health in today's busy lifestyle?
Well, I think that our physical body, if we don't take care of it, it's going to manifest into other things. And if we don't take care of our physical body, then I wonder, what is the deeper why? What is it that we don't feel enough value in ourselves to take care of ourselves? Or do we not have the tools to make healthy choices? We're poor choices modeled, and so we don't know what healthy looks like. I don't have all the answers, and for everybody it's different, but those are the questions that I generally kind of ask about those topics. I want to get to what is the barrier keeping you from thinking about health differently. I don't view health as, Eli, you have to stop that. I don't view health in the same way that I think a lot of other people do. I view it as an outward expression of how much you believe, well, what you believe about yourself. I think that there's a lot of eating patterns that are rooted in traumatic experiences in childhood, or experiences that taught us shame or self-loathing or not knowing what your self-worth is. I think that some of those core fundamental things drive a lot of those food addictions that can lead to heart disease and diabetes and, all of those things. And so I want to look at the whole person and not just, Elijah Parker, you need to stop that right now. I'm going to call. You have to go. These boys. So I don't want to just look at the collection of symptoms. I want to look at the whole person. What is actually happening for you? Don't be a duck where you're calm on the surface and your feet are just going a mile a minute underneath. Like, show me all of you. Let me sit with that with you and help you see what that coach did for me this week that I couldn't see it. It wasn't that I was pretending it wasn't there. It was that it was in a blind spot. I didn't know that that's the pattern that I was in. And sometimes we just need someone to sit with us to talk it out. Sometimes that's all we need. So I think also having people who are not speaking into your life things that destroy your relationship with food or exercise, like people being told that they're too big. I was constantly made fun of as a kid for being too skinny because I've always been a beanpole. That's just what I've been called. Tall and skinny, not a lot of shape. Okay, well, thanks for that body image complex as a kid. I was called anorexic. They joked about me being anorexic, which is something I've never had an eating disorder. I've just always been on the very thin side of life. And so when people say those things, are you able to roll it off your shoulder and say that doesn't apply to me because I know that I'm not X, Y, or Z? It took a lot of pain and heartache for me to learn that lesson as a kid because I was teased a lot. I was bullied relentlessly. It just seemed like my siblings and I had targets on our backs, and everybody wanted to hate on our family, and it felt very isolating that the only place we felt safe was at home, where we could kind of pick fun at each other in a way that didn't hurt our feelings. And if it did, like we didn't poke that bear again, so honey, I'm on a call. You have to wait.
That's nice. Can massage therapy improve mental health as well?
Well, yes. I mean, that's my experience, is that when you are able to feel the physical touch in a healthy way, if you haven't had healthy physical touch, that experience can be so freeing. It's not That's not a common thing, but it's not uncommon for clients to maybe cry on the table because it's been years since I've been touched and I've had that connection, especially for a widow or a widower or someone whose kids are estranged, or, there's so many emotional components that get stuck in our body through our fascia. Our fascia is one of those places that, at a cellular level, our emotions are being stored and held. And it's not a head and heart issue. It's a whole body pain when your heart is broken. And so when you have that experience, your whole body is viscerally experiencing that. And so it can hold in places that you didn't know. There's certain patterns of things, certain areas that are much more frequently holding certain types of emotions. So there's things that you can't necessarily prove it in science, but there's enough anecdotal evidence of patterns that even if we can't explain it, I'm not sure that you could change my mind that there isn't a mind-body connection. I don't think that you could. There's too much evidence, and I've experienced too much as a person on the table, but also in hundreds of massages over 16 years. I've just seen too much. I've had people relive their traumatic, horrible, abusive situations where they're reliving details that they don't share. Like, you wouldn't share that with anybody but a therapist, kind of thing. But you're safe enough physically to get it out. And I'm safe enough for you to feel like I'm not going to judge you for whatever you don't want to carry anymore. That can be really powerful.
Yeah, exactly. How does stress affect our body?
How does stress what?
How does stress affect our body?
Well, I think stress is an offshoot of anxiety, which is an offshoot of fear. So your emotions affect your body. I mean, it seems so simple, but when we think of emotions, like there's a handful of rooted emotions and everything else is down the line from that. So you might be frustrated, but frustrated is an offshoot of anger. That doesn't mean that your frustration is bad or not valid, but if we have to recognize what the parent of that emotion is so that we don't let our emotions take control of us, but we can make sure that that our emotions aren't using us, we are using our emotions, and that we are the ones in control of our thoughts and our actions instead of our emotions being in control of our reactions to things that we don't like. It's really easy to have a positive reaction when you like the response, but it's so much harder to have that self-control, to push your pride down, to say, I didn't like how you spoke to me, but I'm going to choose not to react like I do. I talk with my boys constantly about, I know he hit you, but you didn't have to hit him back. You just don't have to do that. You can choose to walk away. And we'll go through options. And kids aren't all there yet. They still are learning, and it's my job to teach them the tools. So I want to do that for my clients as well within the span of my scope of practice as a massage therapist. And so, Eli, you have to stop. You're not in the video. You guys have to get out of here. I am.
It's okay.
No. But it's breakfast time, and we can't make breakfast on our. Yeah, you can. I'm busy. And I'll talk to you in a minute, honey.
Okay, so if you could leave our audience with one message today, what would it be?
I would say that choose your mentors wisely, because you don't want to take advice from someone you don't want your life to look like. It's serious who you choose to spend time with, because we are often the sum of who we hang out with. You could have the best natured personality, but if you decide to go hang out with rough people, you're going to end up rough because that's who you're with. In the same way, if you choose to spend time with a business person who is not ethical, then you are much less likely to be ethical in your business. And then if they are unethical in their personal life, statistically speaking, they will be unethical in their business life. If they're willing to, you know, do something to their family that's not good, well, or a family member or somebody on the street, well, then of course they're probably going to be willing to not care about you. If when someone shows you who they really are, we need to start believing them and stop collecting red flags. So be careful who you spend your time with and who you want your life to look like. Make sure that they're worthy of that admiration. Not that they have to be perfect, but that they are striving to be the best version of themselves every day and admit their failures, say they're sorry, and work towards betterment.
Okay, thank you so much, Jennifer, for your time and for sharing your inspiring journey with us. It was a pleasure having you on the show.
Well, thank you so much for having me again. It's been a wonderful journey doing these, and I've greatly enjoyed every one of them. Thank you.
Okay, goodbye.
Have a good day.